Hi guys, I'm here with Felipe. I really would like to talk about finding the tipping point or the fall point. Now again, movement lesson practitioner, professional athlete, all of that. It doesn't matter whether you have special needs, you're learning to develop, you've been developing, you're an aging adult. There's a tipping point, right? And one of the things that you get used to touch and tonus and learning how to work with someone is being sensitive to where that point is. Now, when I touch anybody, the first thing that I teach, like I just did this in beginner's touch training, and they all got to feel my head and work around it. I'm going to show you a little bit of that as well, because I'm editing the videos and I just wanted to see. But when I'm working with someone, everybody has a point where their vestibular is nice and healthy. Now, as I like to say, I'm not hurting him, I'm not threatening him in any way, but it doesn't matter where you are, sitting, standing, lying down, it doesn't matter. There's a point where your system is fine with the movement, or it's going to go into the fall. Now, the second that system, that body goes to a point where there might be a fall involved. Now with him, it didn't show up, but you start seeing like his thumb starts to he's starting to activate preventative movements. I don't want him to activate preventative movements. Chamberlain, this is a lot for you, for Wells, so for you to understand this a bit more, what we were working with. A client was just here for 2 weeks, so they've seen something like this that are working. So in her case, and I'm going to ad-lib now, when you have abnormalities within the different ventricles of fluid on the brain, however you want to make that statement, in that case, people look at, again, the fall being large head, not strong enough, whichever. But what I was trying to teach, and it's the same thing. So now I'm going to just change my touch a little bit. So now I'm just concentrating on Felipe's head and where it is with his vestibular. Now, an organized system, right there, there's a glitch right through his tailbone, coming across, coming over here, and again, seeing how much he's adjusting now, writing his vision and his ear. So again, see how his head is maintaining that float. Again, it's not as nice on this side. He's doing it, but he's much more efficient to here. Now, he's interesting because he's left-handed, but he's a right-handed pitcher. So again, I can manipulate him into different aspects. Right here, see right there, you see it. He's going into, where's this lady taking me from? Like, oh, okay, I'm just moving around to like, okay, now what's she doing? Right? And it could be whatever is your vocabulary, but the system, his body, will automatically respond to his nervous system's responses, not to mine. So when you're teaching someone that, or you don't want someone to prevent a movement, well, right off the bat, then I'm not going to start a lesson where he has to prevent a movement. So that's why, again, sometimes you have to start working lying down. Sometimes I have to start with them in their parents' lap. It doesn't matter to me. Or I just worked on a couple of guys on the beach this weekend. Again, adults, and you're thinking, oh, how nice, the beach. Well, the first thing they both said is like, there's a lot of distractions going on. There's kids running around. How am I supposed to concentrate? No, if you're out there doing beach activities like paddle boarding or bicycling and all that sort of stuff, that they need to do for high-end performers, kids shouldn't bother you. You know, people shouldn't bother you. You know, that's why when he's been pitching, people sit there and go, you know, and they think that they're going to throw the pitcher because of all that. Well, he wouldn't be on the mound if those things bothered him. But at that one point, you'll see it. It's really cute. At the World Series this year, there was 3 kids that were dressed up like dinosaurs right behind the catcher's cage. But for Houston, they didn't dress, you know, when Houston was pitching, they didn't dress up they put their outfits on for the Diamondbacks. So that was pretty funny because they were just trying to throw that team, but they didn't want to throw their team. It really shouldn't matter if you're a professional level of where you're at. And so I like to do lessons, or when people say the kids should be zen, no toys, if they go home, their house is cluttered, guys. There's laundry, there's this. They have to be able to work just as well with little brother around, trying to get their toy away, as they much, have to learn. Kids don't learn what's said. And so when I'm working with him, and even though I'm talking away, now his system's like, oh, okay, I know what this lady wants from me. But at the same time, too, if I have bad touch and I try to bring him, immediately he's going to counter my touch. Right? And this is where a lot of therapies are just, they might look similar to mine, or you think that they're doing hand on hand, but there's a difference between this kind of float and working with his vestibular versus an action. See, already I'm taking him down. So by me taking him down now, his head can't counter response. And so some working with again, micro or macrocephaly, touch, especially around the shoulder girdle. If I'm automatically touching and I'm doing this to the nervous system where the head wants to go into a fall position, I've already lost the lesson, right? Now, again, eventually I'm going to have to show how to get out of a fall, right? Because that's what they do. What do they do? The first thing they do for, let's say, if you're going to learn snowboarding, they'll make you fall first, okay? Then they go back and start teaching you the other thing, because you get falling out of the system. Right? But it doesn't work the same for babies and children. So again, the therapeutic process or the modality process that you're doing for your child has got to be a lot different than what you're doing for an adult, because he is also trained. So what if this hurts? You're going to learn anyway, right? That shouldn't be the same for your child. Don't let anybody hurt your child. Don't let them hurt it vestibularly as well as just even psycho-emotionally. You shouldn't be crying through a lesson. You shouldn't be in a point where you're guarded and you're going to do all those kind of things. You should be at a point where your system is learning how to do transitioning skills, and that's how they're learning, through weight transfer, transitioning skills, and rotational responses. There's just no other way. But I wanted to cover, again, when you touch someone now, his fall or vestibular system is completely different. Why? Again, he's a professional pitcher. So he's actually even used to the mound. A lot of us, we pave paradise. If I take someone, if I put a high heel on one shoe and a sneaker on another, just having that lopsidedness can throw a seasoned person. But way he has to do is what they call step off the mound and so forth. So he's used to it, and if he has to come and catch behind. So he's one of those rare people that has an uneven surface as part of his professional positioning. And so he has a different way of using his vision. He has a different way of using so many things, the skills that he was made to have, just because he's a pitcher versus a first baseman. First baseman is just here, maybe to here, right? A second baseman, you've got both sides. A third baseman, now you're blocked a wall. You see this in cricket, right? You see this in a lot of modalities that are out there. The person you're working with has to be familiar with where you are in the field just as much as where you are in position to use your vision if you're special needs. Right, Kay? Thanks, guys.